I'll start off with the game in regards to how everything went. You get to the fourth quarter against this team, and you have that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, then 4th and 1, 11 minutes to go, and a touchdown puts you ahead. And I thought that for really up until that point, we thought that game plan wise, it was really going how you want it to go, and in the fourth quarter to be right there. We just got to get that 4th and 1, and that bothers me that we didn't. So we as coaches, and we'll do a better job there, making sure we get that. And then all of a sudden, they go down and they get 2 touchdowns and make it 35-16. Red zone, not good enough. 1 for 5 in the red zone. You can't play the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers and kick field goals. We have to get touchdowns. There's no other way. And then he's 4 for 4 in the red zone. We had 6 fourth down conversions, which is probably more than we had all year long. Time of possession against this team is what we wanted. We had 35-24 time of possession, and that's hard to do against them. Our defense to come out in the third quarter there and to get that 5 and out and that 3 and out. If you get an opportunity he throws you a ball, I'd love to be able to, make that an interception with 2 or 3 of those that we had. We didn't, but we did get off the field. So I give credit there. Again, red zone for them was good. Red zone for us was bad offensively. And so, being in that locker room afterwards, this is my first time where you lose a game, but yet you find out that you're in. And so the message to the team is this: it's okay to feel like crap right now. We put a lot of time and effort and energy into winning this football game, and it sucks when you lose. But that said, feel it tonight, understand it, but no one's going to take away what these players did to work back these last 3 weeks to put ourselves in a position to make the playoffs. And they did that. And there's no one that's going to take that from those players and the coaches. So here we are. We feel it tonight. We wake up tomorrow morning and that thing's in the rearview mirror. We got to lock in. We got to get ready for the Saints, who's a hell of a football team. We're in it. And again, now anything can happen.
First up, Pat Finley.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Were you made aware at any point during the game what was going on with the Rams? And if not, when did you find out that they had won? And what was your reaction in that moment?
Walking off of the field after the game, I was told of the score. I still don't even know the score. I think it was 18-7 or something is what I was told. I don't know if that's right or not.
It is.
And so that was that. Again, I've never been in this situation, so sorry for, being a little bit not, you're excited because you're in, right? But the message to the players, because you got, 65 guys looking at you in that locker room like, man, we wanted to win this game and we didn't. But the message was a lot of honesty that, hey, when we wake up tomorrow, let's go and let's regroup and let's get after it. I don't know when we play, but I do know we play the Saints. And so that's when I found out.
Matt, who told you?
I think it was Aaron Clark.
Brad Biggs.
Matt, do you feel like you guys have closed the gap?
You're breaking up there, Brad. I heard you're frozen right now. You said
we lost you, Brad. We'll come back. JJ.
Matt, the message you gave your team about, hey, it's okay to feel like crap right now. I'm just curious, as you're kind of going through it in that moment, how are you balancing your own emotions? Like you're saying, like, you never been through this before of like, losing this game, but being excited that there is another game after it.
Yeah. So there's so much stuff, as y'all know, that goes through in my position. When you go through what we went through this year and you lose 6 in a row, for me, you get to that point and you say, okay, here's where we're at. How are we going to get out of this thing? And the only way to do it is by believing in each other. And there's I'm sure even right now, there's a lot of people that jumped off and that didn't want to be a part of it. But our guys understood that, hey, here's where we're at. And we got one thing. We can either just fold up shop and say that's enough, or we can step up and say we got 4 games left. And so as all that stuff was going down, and you work week to week to week, and you win 3 in a row, and now you have this sitting in front of you against, a big rival and a great team, the number 1 seed in the NFC, at home, and you get, what a great opportunity. And so our guys, they had a hell of a practice all week long, was great, and you fight, and you get till that fourth quarter, and then that happens, and then it got out of hand. Then you get in the locker room, and so what I haven't done yet is reflected on. I have to reset myself. I'm still emotionally from this, feeling this game. I'm not at the playoff part yet. So once I get over that here in the next hour or two, it's going to go right on to the Saints. And now, as you all know, anything can happen. But let me just say this: for our team and our players to pull out of a 6-game losing streak, I'm proud of them for that. And now we go. Now we go. And I think I believe, these guys believe, and anything can happen, as you all know.
Dan Wiederer.
Matt, how tempted were you to go for it on 4th and goal from the 2 when you settled for the 20-yard field goal? And then also on the 4th and 1, what most agitates you about that sequence?
So I really, thought that maybe we should go for it at that 4th and 2. But then you look up and you say, okay, if you don't get it, you end up getting the 3 points, and you keep it within that less than a touchdown. And now if you get a touchdown, you're up and you're winning, right exactly where we were at that 4th and 1. And then the 4th and 1 situation, it's just 4th and 1. We got to get that. And then 3rd and 1 before that. I'm not going to get into the why part, because that's just for me and the coaches and the players. And I just, I want to get that. And that one bothers me.
Brad Biggs.
Matt, do you feel like you guys have been able to close the gap with the Packers this season, or is it too early to kind of take inventory on that type of thing?
Well, for us, so you look at the first game that occurred versus this second game, and they're totally two totally different styles of games. When you have Aaron Rodgers on the bench for as long as we had him on the bench, now when he was out there, he was playing pretty well. But we did come out and get crucial stops in the 3rd quarter, which was great. I mean, our defense put us in a great position offensively. Closing the gap, obviously we haven't when you lose 2 games like we did. So the only thing that we can do is now reshift our focus to New Orleans. But I mean, they're playing. Green Bay is playing really well right now. I mean, you guys see that. There's a reason why they play the way they play, and they're a good football team, and you have to give them credit.
Jason Leisure.
Matt, you seem to be ambivalent right now, like you're kind of compartmentalizing the season and then what comes ahead. As far as the season goes, 8-8, losing to Green Bay a couple times. I'm getting the impression from you you're not satisfied with that part of it.
Well, again, right now it's an hour or whatever. It's about an hour after the game, so I'm just emotional from that side of it, because we put in so much time, man, into getting this win, and that's where. So I'm allowed to, I feel this way right now, and then once I get over this, Jason, I'll get through this and shoot. It's my job. It starts with me, is to make sure that we do everything we can as coaches to get our players ready to realize that it's a clean slate tomorrow. And you guys know it. I mean, there's been anything can happen once you get in the playoffs, anything, especially this year too. It's crazy the way things are going. So our guys have the right mindset, and I would probably be a little bit upset if our locker room was just like going crazy and celebrating and being excited in the locker room after the game. I'd be a little bit concerned, and our guys weren't. So they'll reshift their focus and get ready tomorrow.
Couple more for Coach Mike Berman.
Matt, obviously it's great that you get in, but given that you had the 6-game losing skid and had to work your way out of that, given that you're coming off of a tough loss, how much do you think you guys have to give? What's left in the tank?
Oh, a lot. We got a lot to give. And that's, I think, where, I mean, when you guys look at what these guys have done, you can't take anything away from these players. You can't. So, these guys are positive thinkers. They just, that's how they roll. I mean, they for these guys to practice the way they've been practicing after what we went through, for them to put themselves in this position right now, and our coaches too, they coach their tails off to get to this point. And so now, again, like now it's an excitement. You guys are just getting me right now, like an hour after the game. And so I apologize if I'm not all balloons everywhere, but tomorrow it's going to be energetic. There's going to be some juice. The guys are going to heal up. They're going to take care of their bodies. They're going to get mentally right, and shoot, let's go. Like that's where that fire comes from. And no one can take that away from us. And I'm proud of our guys for that.
Adam Hogue.
Hey, Matt, sorry if I missed this earlier, but do you know how bad Roquan Smith's injury is? Do you know if you'll have him in the playoffs? And in general, how do you feel about your defense going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know the extent yet of Roquan. You guys will probably end up, knowing more here, and I will too, 24, 48 hours. He's a tough son of a buck now, so he's tough. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the doctors and what Andre say. And then as far as with our defense, I think that they're going to be excited to be able to get an opportunity to play the Saints again. We battled those guys, went into overtime, weren't able to pull it out. Again, have a lot of respect for that organization, and obviously Drew Brees and what he's done in his career, Sean Payton, and their defense too. So our defense, again, they're to put us in a position to where we have 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter. And it's 21-15, or whatever it was at that point in time. I'm proud of our guys right now. So it's hard for me to, they're going to fight. They're going to fight their tails off.
Last one, Stacey Dales.
Coach, I can sense obviously you said so emotional still from this game, but how exciting is it to say to your team, because playoff football, you put the regular season behind and it's a brand new season, and that can be part of the message.
So cool, right? I agree, Stacey. I think that for these guys, there's a lot of other teams right now. We were a part of that last year. It stinks when you got to go home after the last game of the regular season. But, now enjoy your hard work. Enjoy what you invested these last 3 to 4 weeks to get to this point, okay? And so those guys are going to do that. And tomorrow it's a complete reset and reshift, because just like you said, anything can happen. And we know that we have the pieces. Our guys care. And when you have a care factor, now you got to figure out, okay, where can we get better? And then how do we do that against a really good football team that's well coached? And once we get through tonight, tomorrow is going to be fun. There's going to be energy and excitement, and you guys will probably see a little bit more of a smile on my face than right now.
Yeah, Danny, though you all lost the game, since the Cardinals lost, you all do get into the playoffs. What is currently your feeling that you had the chance to seal your destiny via your own win, but you all still managed to make it in?
We know we wanted to win this game no matter what. It didn't happen. It's a lot of teams that's not in the situation that we're in, not in have the opportunity that we have right now. So our job is just to make the most out of this. It can be the other way around. But right now, my job and my focus right now is to not let anything slip next game. It's win or go home next game. Just like we felt this game. But we kind of got not playing our ball. So I feel like right now everybody is hungry right now. We in the playoffs, and we know what's at stake.
Not Son.
Danny, how tough a task is it for you when you're sort of out there on an island having to guard a wide receiver one-on-one?
It's a lot of things that went into that a lot of people don't know, that I won't get into detail about. But all I can say is I can do a little bit better if I'm ever in that situation. It's supposed to be like that. I can do a lot better, and I will do a lot better.
Colin Kane.
Danny, what do you guys miss when Roquan goes out with an injury like that?
We miss a great player because he fits this defense. Me and him, we practice together all the time. So used to having him on that side, and when he goes out, next man in mentality, but you still miss that voice. So I'm confident in the LBs that we have, Josh and Iggy, and just communication got to be a big part between us, and we're gonna work that. We do a great job. I don't get to spend as much time as I am now with them, but it's gonna be good work for us because we all can do any job.
Joe Lewis.
Yeah, Danny, going back to that Roquan injury, after he went down and Joshua's had to fill in for him, what was your message to him since he had to fill such big shoes?
Just being on the same page, communication, knowing what to do and flying around. But it's a lot of stuff that go in play. You can see it on the iPad and on film, but to get out there and see, you got to be aware. It's a copycat league. You have to know what's coming sometimes to make a play, and communication is a big part of that. I feel like he stepped in and made a couple of plays. I know he felt like he could have made a little bit more, and that's the mindset that we all have right now.
Hey, Mitch, what are your emotions right now? Obviously, a tough loss to your rival again, but you still make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mitch.
It's a weird feeling. Obviously disappointed from the game, but finding out the news that we got in, I think we just got rewarded for the work we put in the last couple weeks. And even though tonight didn't go the way we wanted, we're in the playoffs, and that's really all that matters. Everyone's 0-0, and we got a good opportunity this week, and we're grateful for that opportunity. So we got to put this one aside. We got to look at it and learn from it, and then put it aside and come ready to roll next week because we got a great opportunity.
Dan Wiederer.
Mitch, Matt seemed particularly agitated about not being able to convert the 4th and 1 when you guys were going down for a potential go-ahead drive. What did you see on that sequence, and what could have made that play convert when it was 4th and 1 at the 25?
I thought that was a situation where they had a better call on than we did, and they executed better than we did. So I think credit goes to them. I think the only thing we could have done in that situation was maybe run something else against that look, but it's a tough play. We converted some 4th downs earlier in the game, and they got us on that one. So you got to give them credit, but I think we look at that, learn from it, don't dwell on it, make sure we get better from it, and then next time it happens, we convert it.
To the topic of your mixed emotions, how difficult is this, I guess, over the next 2-3 hours to try to reconcile today's performance versus the opportunity that's ahead?
I think just focus on staying in the moment, and in that you're obviously analyzing your emotions, and it's okay to look at the game tonight, but it's got to be in a positive fashion because there's things we did tonight that we could get better at, but there's also things that we did were really good. So we just got to look at it, make sure we're getting better, but also staying positive and looking forward, because we have another week. So you can't let it affect that the next week. We can't let it affect tomorrow. So you just got to look at it as new opportunity. We have a new life going into the playoffs now. We're grateful for that. So we got to go back to work. So we got to stay positive, keep the energy up, and just realize that the next game is the most important one now.
Mark Potash.
Hey, Mitch, so much is on the quarterbacks in the playoffs, and I know the offense has been a big part of of what you've done lately. But how do you feel, especially considering today and just the way the season's going? How do you feel about where you stand right now as leading this team going into the playoffs? Not the offense, but you in particular, where you are right now, leading this team into the playoffs.
I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good mental space. Obviously, I like to do some things different tonight to give us a better chance to win. But I feel like I've gotten better over these last couple of weeks, and for the most part of that game, we were in a good position to compete towards the end, and we just let it get out of the hand. Really, after that 4th and 1 was really the turning point for us, when the game was 21-16 and we were going down the score. So we were there to compete, but we got to be able to finish games, and a big part of that is my play. But I'm confident in what we can do going forward.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Mitch, what do you remember about Saints Week earlier this year? And I know when you got benched, you talked about, being able to soak everything in and prepare as though you're the starter. Might you actually see the benefits of whatever sort of study you did then next week?
Yeah, I don't remember much. I remember I went in for one play and it was a QB run and I landed on my shoulder wrong. So that was unfortunate. That was pretty much the only thing I remember. I'll have to go back into my notes and see what else was going on in that game that I think that could help us going into this week. So we have a great opportunity. We know we're going down and we're going to play a really good football team. But I think definitely looking at that game and what we saw from them, just learning from that and seeing what we can do better this time.
JJ?
Mitch, what does it mean to you to have another shot at being a starting quarterback in the playoffs now?
It's huge. I mean, this is what you work for. The season didn't go the way we envisioned it, but you have a new opportunity. So really none of that matters. So you just got to take advantage of that opportunity. And I'm very grateful for that. So this has got to be our best week. It's got to be my best week. And it's up to me to lead this team and make sure everyone's bringing that attitude that we gotta have a great will about us and a great sense of urgency to prepare, have this be our best game preparation wise, and then go out and then execute to the best of our abilities. Because just the way the season went, all the ups and downs and everything in between, to be in the position we are now, we're very fortunate. But a lot of that is credit to the team sticking together and just hard work across the board. So we earned this, and we got to take advantage now. So I'm looking forward to it.
Kevin Fishbane?
Hey, Mitch, how would you assess the offense today? Just kind of a weird afternoon where you're, not able to get a lot of big plays until the shot to Mooney, but you're also moving the chains and keeping control of the ball, but not scoring touchdowns. So kind of how did you evaluate it right off the bat?
Yeah, I think the ball control part of it was good, staying on the field and converting first downs. And then where that can get really – where we can take to the next level, obviously, when you're controlling the ball and having success staying on the field, is not settling for field goals, because it really doesn't matter if you have the ball all that time and you're just settling for a field goal. So when we get down to the red zone, the most important thing for us is coming away with a touchdown. So we got to definitely look at this game and see what we did down the red zone and see what we can do better this week and have a great red zone study going into our playoff game. Because staying on the field is important, keeping our defense off the field and letting them rest. And especially when you're going against a really good offense like we did tonight, just us staying on the field, that's advantage us. But if you're not coming away with touchdowns, then you're not being as efficient as you could be.
Two more. Dan, go ahead.
Mitch, as an extension to Kevin's question, what were your feelings coming off the field after the opening drive where you did control the ball and you did get in the end zone and take that early lead with a half a quarter gone already?
Yeah, I mean, that's ideally what you would like the other drives to look like, when we're controlling the ball, staying on the field, converting third or fourth downs, and then finishing in the end zone. So that definitely gave us a lot of confidence early on. But when we got back down in the red zone, I'm going to have to go back and watch the film, but they just out-executed us and made us settle for field goals. So credit goes to them. But when you're driving down on defenses and staying on the field, that really takes the life out of them. So you just got to be able to finish in the red zone and come away with points. It's all about touchdowns, and it's going to be huge in the playoffs.
Last one, Joe Lewis.
Yeah, Mitch, it seems like in this game you found Darnell Mooney early and often, but the games before, specifically the last four, you found Allen Robinson a lot more. What looks did the Packers give you that made it more difficult for you to find him?
I think just the matchups and what we had in the plan for Mooney to get the ball. I think early on they were just giving us looks that were more advantageous to go to Mooney than to A-Rob. But I think our offense is at our best, and when we're really doing well and in a rhythm, and definitely when we're finishing down the red zone, it's when 12 is getting his hands on the ball. So we're going to have to look at that. I wasn't aware of it early on that he wasn't touching the football. So you got to have your best receiver definitely involved early. So that's something we can look at, something we can improve at. But Mooney took advantage of his opportunities and made some big plays for us. But
we want 12 touching the ball, and we know when everyone is touching the ball on offense and we're getting to our playmakers, that's when we can be efficient and be more deadly. But it's going to be about red zone touchdowns going into this next week.
Thanks, Mitch. We're all set.
Thanks, guys.
It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. WCPT. WCPT.
This the coldest boys show. You were getting the hour from 6 p.m. to 7. Chillin' with Lauren Cox and the man Marvelous. Shout out to Mr. Rouse and the Italian style. You sports is the only politic.
WCPT. WCPT. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse.
All right, all of you out there watching the Bears-Packer rivalry taking place over at Soldier Field. The Bears are trailing 21-16. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. We're streaming live on Facebook Live, broadcasting from the illustrious studios of WCPT 820 AM in the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago, in the great neighborhood of Jefferson Park. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60, the fastest hour in sports conversation. Yours truly, Jerry Riles. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you love him. He's not over at Wrigley. He's not over at Is it? Guaranteed rate field. He's not over at the United Center. He's not up in Lambeau Field or Soldier Field. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in studio. He's known as the Marvelous. He is Dan Marver. What's up, Marvelous? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Jerry? You know, this is such a fast show. It isn't even 6 o'clock yet. But you know what? I become a Rams fan. Forget about the 18-7, the Rams are leading, so the Bears get in the playoffs either way.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be New Orleans or Seattle if they play, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll certainly get an opportunity to talk deeply as far as the Bears' opportunity to advance in the playoffs, to keep their 2020 season alive, despite the 6-game losing streak, despite the fact that the Green Bay Packers owns them, and despite the fact that Matt Nagy handed over his playbook to Bill Lazor, and of course, Ryan Pace still believes he's the best GM in the National Football League. We'll still get an opportunity to talk some Bear football, some playoff football, and of course, we're going to be joined by some fabulous former Chicago Bear football players in studio and on our TRS60 hotline, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you love him, number 51 in your playbook. He's number 1 in our hearts. Later on, we're going to have an opportunity to talk with the great number. There you go. Yeah, the great number 51. No, not Dick Buckus. Bruce Herron will be on our TRS60 hotline. And, of course, we haven't talked with him in quite some time since the pandemic, but he is expected to be in studio with us, ladies and gentlemen. The 17th letter of the alphabet. You love him. We call him Q-Dog. Quentin Demps will be in studio to help break down this Bears-Packer game. And, of course, double nickel. Played with the most dominant defense that ever laced him up in the National Football League. Number 55, Otis Mama Boy Wilson will be joining us as well. So we got a trifecta as far as former Chicago Bear players are concerned to talk about the current Chicago Bears. Marvelous.
Yeah, that's great. You know, the Bears' offense, as usual, is not outstanding. They're gaining, 5 yards of play, but because I'm a big fan of Wayne Larrivee, I'm listening to the game on the Packers network, and they're thinking that it's a game plan, that they're trying to do ball control to keep Rodgers off the field.
Yes, I mean, you have to try it that way.
I know.
I mean, it's game plan, it's game strategy, because the Bears at one point, halfway through the fourth quarter, They run 53 plays, where the Packers have only run 26 plays. The Bears are dominated in time of possession, so over like 28.
31-19 right now.
Unbelievable, but that's the game plan you need as far as trying to strategize against the best in the business. That, of course, Aaron Rodgers tried to keep him off the football field. Unfortunately, the Packers, when they get on the football field, they score. The Bears, when they have the football, even though they're trying to eat up all the clock, unfortunately, when they get in the red zone, and thank goodness we have Cairo Santos, the best kicker the Bears have ever had. He set the new mark, 27 straight field goals.
Yeah, 3 more.
They cannot when they get in the red zone, they cannot score. So we have to rely on the foot of Cairo Santos.
Yeah. Well, the Green Bay scored 3 times. We scored 4 times. Unfortunately, 3 of them were by field goals.
Yeah, and you know what? It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot uglier because if you recall, early in the first half, David Montgomery went down with a knee injury, and we thought that was pretty much it. I don't know if the knee was hyperextended. I don't know, but the point of the matter is that right knee got crunched, and he went to the sideline.
He came back, and he's been doing okay.
Yeah, he has.
One of the big turning points was the Komet fumble. That's really the difference in the game right now.
Yeah, it's a very big difference, and I felt for the homegrown product.
I thought he might have landed on his buttocks before.
That was the dilemma there. Did his buttocks hit the turf before the ball was stripped from him? And with technology today, the way the game is designed, instant replay showed that the ball was coming out, being dislodged by the Green Bay Packers defense before his buttocks hit the ground, and of course caused the turnover, and of course the Green Bay Packers go in to get the score. And Aaron Rodgers is doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers does, and he is dissecting the Bears defense. And it's interesting to see. I don't know about you, but it's interesting to see after the Bears had the opening drive and they get into the end zone and they get the points to get the ball rolling, Aaron Rodgers comes off the sideline just methodically, orchestrates and gets his football team down the field. Of course, they scored. They tied it up 7-7, but marvelous. I don't know about you watching it. I know you were listening to the great Wayne Larrabee and the Green Bay Packer broadcast on the radio dial, but when I was watching this game, I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, and I'm telling you, every time he go to the sideline, he goes, "Hey, that's it." He goes, "Man, this is more like practice than a real game."
I mean, the start could have been devastating, where Patterson's looked like he stepped out of the 1-yard line, but then they went down and scored. You know, it took 7.5. They did half the quarter, 7.5 minutes to score a touchdown, and Green Bay did the same thing.
Yeah,
so they were like 2 possessions in the first quarter. It was amazing.
Exactly, it was amazing. I think the Bears had something of 14 or 15 plays in the 60-yard drive, and of course the Green Bay Packers had about 12 or 13 plays on their drive, and you're absolutely right. Each team with a possession in the first quarter and tied up. So it was very, very interesting to see. But we want everyone, if you're watching a football game, and it's late in the fourth quarter of action and the Green Bay Packers are driving, we got an early start here at WCPT 820 AM, the Rewind Sports 60, and we are watching the game as well. So we want you to keep the volume down on your television monitors or whatever devices you may be watching a football game, the computer, your smartphone, or whatever the case may be, and keep it turned up at 8:20 a.m. 8:20 a.m. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Known as the 17th letter in the alphabet, Quentin Dempsey is in the house. Hey, Quentin, can you suit up, man, and we can get you?
Nah, what's the score?
We can get you in the game, man. Quentin Dempsey is in the house, in the studios. WCPT 8:20 a.m., brother. It's good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, it's so, but
touchdown, Green Bay.
If you're watching the game, you can keep it turned on your monitors, your smartphone, your computers, or whatever the case may be. The Green Bay Packers just scored, and they're pending the PAT. They lead our Chicago Bears with 3:47 to go in the contest, 28-16. But we want you to be a part of the fastest hour in sports conversation. That, of course, the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820 AM. Our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763 WCPT. For all your Bears post-game comments, come on right here and join us. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, the marvelous one, Dan Marver, in studio, ladies and gentlemen. We love him, we miss him. Known as the 17th letter in the alphabet, Quentin Dempsey's in the house. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm doing amazing.
You know what?
Good. I'm good, Jay. I'm good.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Man, I want to give you a big hug, but we can't do it.
6 feet. 6 feet.
Maybe next year.
Hey, I want to do like that. Is it the Geico commercial where the dude is in his apartment and who is it?
Yeah, that is
Harrison?
Geico.
And he run around. And I want to go run and tackle you, man. I want to tackle you. How's everything going, bro?
Man, everything's all right, man. Everything is everything, man. Staying healthy.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, likewise, man. Both of you guys, man.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
I'm glad you're safe and sound.
Yeah, for real. I'm good. I've been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man. We certainly missed you.
Yeah.
And we weathered the storm. We weathered 2020,
Y'all
man.
been
And
going.
we've been coming in,
Yeah.
masking up,
Yeah, y'all been going.
distance and everything,
Y'all
man.
been going, man.
Yeah, so it's good to
encouraging.
see
That's
you. We
encouraging,
certainly
yeah.
missed you, man. But you know what? It's a grind, and it's Chicago, and you
Yeah.
just got to keep plowing.
Yeah.
You got to keep going.
Windy City, baby. You gotta
Hey,
have
Windy
grit.
City, Chicago. It's the city that works.
Yeah.
It's the city that works against you sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. And I want to say Happy New Year to the entire staff of Mayor Lori Lightfoot. You guys have had an incredible 2020, not only along with the rest of us here in this great city we call Chicago, but the fact that you had to, it's your first year as administration taking over, some big, heavy issues and some hurdles to clear, no question about it. But of course, faced with the pandemic that hit us back in March, and then of course with the crime accelerating the way that it's been going. I mean, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and of course the recent tape they'd come out with the young lady, that was very disappointing, very sad as well. But all in all, you know what? There are a lot of people who supported Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and they're like, hey, we're second guessing ourselves. Maybe we made a wrong decision. Maybe we made a wrong choice. The woman's only been in office for a year. She's only been in office for a year, and she's been hit with a tremendous deficit as far as the city is concerned, the state is concerned. She's been hit with the pandemic. She's been hit with this crime. She's been hit with everything left and right. And you're saying, you know what, maybe we made a wrong choice? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? Are you ridiculous? If you're a lifelong Chicagoan, you know politics here in the city, the great city of Chicago, and I love it. Going back to the old man, Mayor Daley, back in the day. Let me tell you something. This woman, she is busting her tail. And she represents Chicago more than anybody. And her heart and soul is in this city. And what she needs for all of us to do, I don't care whether you disagree with her, if you did, because, well, the point of the matter is, you're Chicago, you love this city, roll up your frickin' sleeves and let's get to work. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm tired of, and I didn't even try to do this, man, but the one thing I'm tired of is all this frickin' crime that's going on the south side and the west side. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. My buddy just died. May he rest in peace. Johnny Marsh. He, a lifelong friend. We grew up together on the south side in the Beverly area. He succumbed to some injuries from a paintball. The paintball shooting over on 118th and Michigan Avenue. The dude thought he got shot. He got hit with paintballs. He evidently succumbed to those injuries based on cracked ribs and a collapsed lung.
Wow.
2 weeks later, he passed from that. Because of some senseless BS that's going on. We have the retired firefighter who just died because of the carjacking situation. Cut the crap out, man. Cut it out. And all you mamas, I'm going to say your mamas, because your daddies, half of y'all out there doing the same thing that your young punks are out there doing. But the mothers, hey, listen, you guys, you know what your kid is doing. You know what your kid is doing. Grab them in the frickin' collar, kick them in the ass, and tell them to sit down and read a frickin' book. Cut out all this crap. Yeah, everybody want to jump on with Lori Lightfoot and say, yeah, I think I made a bad decision. Half of you aldermen. You wouldn't be able to do the job that she's been able to do. So you need to roll up your sleeves as aldermen around this city and support the woman and clean up your areas, clean up your neighborhood, and do something positive to make this city the greatest city that I certainly know it is. So I'm off my soapbox now. Let's go to the Bears, Quentin Dance.
Bears, man.
Dude, we've got a lot
said.
to catch up on, man. I mean, this is the biggest rivalry. Marvelous. Is this the 202nd meeting between these two teams?
It seems like the 1000th, but you're probably right.
But, I mean, hey, Q.
It seemed like the 1000 for real.
Yeah, it certainly does. Q. I mean, you know, a lot of these guys on this team have obviously played in the National Football League for 10 years, 5 with the beloved Chicago Bears. Yeah. What's your assessment of the 2020 season from the 5-1 start to the 6-game losing streak, and now looks like The
Missing
Bears
the
still
playoffs.
have an opportunity. No, they're going to get in the playoffs because the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, so they in?
The Rams are going to
Yeah.
beat the Arizona Cardinals.
So the Bears are still in.
The Bears will still get in, man.
So yeah, it's just been a roller coaster, man. Like you said, starting off 5-1 and then losing 6 straight, and then like starting with Mitchell and then going to Nick Foles and then back to Mitchell. So it's like a roller coaster, man. Yeah. But man, they still in though. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Kyler Murray went out with an ankle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he went out with an ankle.
All right.
I took Arizona on my confidence pool. This is the worst. This is the worst I've done this year. I put it on COVID, man. I'm like in 79th place out of 85 people.
Wow.
And I haven't won 1 week.
You should have called me, man. You should have called me.
Q. 17 weeks I didn't win one.
You didn't win.
I've been playing this for almost 20 years, and I've always made my money back at least.
Yeah.
And I've won a couple times, a couple years, the overall pot.
Yeah.
This is the worst year I've ever had, man.
Yeah. Hey, so who the Bears gonna play though? New Orleans or Seattle, it appears.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, former player.
Yeah.
Watching this team.
Yeah.
Seeing what's happening with the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Is this something? Now I'm looking at this as the glass half empty.
Okay.
There are people who look at it as the glass half full.
Yeah.
Your assessment: the Bears make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They backdoor it in. Is this a team that is on the rise, or is this a team that you got to start thinking rebuild?
I think it's still to be determined. I think it depends on how this playoff run goes.
Really?
Say they win 2 games in the playoffs, and it's a team on the rise. But if they come out and make it out of the first round, we're losing the first round, then that's, they're tanking. But I think it's still to be determined, honestly, because like I said, man, anything happens in the playoffs. Anything happens in the playoffs. And so when you get in, anybody got a chance to make a Super Bowl. So it's like we don't know. We're going to see. Yeah, the thing that's a little weird this year is the number 4 seed is going to have a losing record. It's going to be either the Giants or Washington. So that might be easy pickings for Tampa in the first round.
Right.
But the Bears are going to get a much tougher opponent. Yeah. Saints or the Seahawks. Yeah, that's what it looks like because the Packers will be number 1, and we're going to get the 2 seed. So hopefully it's the Saints, so they won't have to travel so far.
What difference does that make, though?
Traveling plays a big factor into it. I mean, I know the crowd's not there, but going to Seattle from Chicago is farther than going to New Orleans.
Yeah, I get that. But
and then the time difference, the jet lag, it plays a difference.
But Q,
I'm trying to give them all they got, man. They need sympathy. We need empathy.
It's the team that they're gonna play.
Yeah. No, it ain't the team.
Hey, Q,
it's where they gonna play them at.
I bet you. If the Bears had to travel to Grant Park, which is right next to Soldier Field, if they had to travel to Grant Park to play Seattle or the Saints, I bet you the Bears will lose still.
I don't know. Okay, let's go Mitchell. Let's go Trubisky.
Speaking of Mitchell Trubisky and the Green Bay Packers again, they're racking it up now, 35-26. It seems like I'm in the casino where the numbers just keep rolling.
Racking it up.
Your thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky? The Bears, of course, at the start of the season did not give him the option year to pick up that 5th-year option. And the speculation right now, Mitchell Trubisky, from the way it looks, will be coming back as the Bears quarterback.
Right now?
Well, the way that it's being projected, that they believe that the front office is going to bring Mitchell Trubisky back, franchise tag him.
Okay, because he earned that with these last few games.
Did he earn it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Go ahead.
I just think he'll back up. I mean, it's funny. His overall record will be 6-3. This, after he was 6-2 coming into this.
Right.
So that's amazing.
So you think is he a NFL backup on any club or
he's NFL backup on any club. For
Why
sure.
do you say that?
Because you look at Chase Daniels, he's stealing money. I mean, because he has potential. Like he can. I think maybe in the right offense, he probably excel more. Honestly. Maybe this ain't the offense for him. Maybe he needs like a change of scenery. So, but the problem is we have to get a number 1. I think Nick Foles won, right? Yeah, well, maybe. I'm not sure about that either. What's wrong with Nick? I don't know. He doesn't seem to have a complete season either. A lot of times.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
No, as a teammate, how would you size this up? I mean, the defense even. I think they took a step back with Chuck Pagano.
Yeah.
I think this defense, they kind of.
They're not playing as dominant as they usually play, right?
That's what I was about to say.
It's not
like they don't have as much heart as they had under Vic Fangio.
Yeah, exactly. I can see that too. I can see that too.
With Vic Fangio, it's like the defense would tear down the wall.
That's true.
But with Chuck Pagano, they're like, well, we probably just knock on the door and open it.
You know what? That's a personality thing too, because Vic is kind of like gritty.
Where Chuck is kind of like passive and kind of chill, more softer.
Right.
So it's like I could play a factor for real.
So let me, and that's the way I think.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the way I
No,
think because
that's-
I think any team situation, the players, they kind of reflect
The coach.
mentality exactly.
mentality of the coach.
And help me out with this one because you played at the highest level.
Yeah.
And you played with the greatest franchise of all time, despite the fact we don't ever show it every year. But dude, Vic Fangio, the first week, the first meeting between the Packers and the Bears, they had to go up to Lambeau.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard the the pregame during the week, the pressers during the week, but Vic Fangio said, I'm actually scared to go up to Lambeau to face this team. He said this in his press conference during the week leading up to it.
Yeah.
And for me,
You mean Chuck? Chuck said that.
who did I say?
You said Vic said it.
Vic.
No, I'm sorry. Chuck
Yeah, Vic-
Pagano.
I'm
Chuck
about to say,
Pagano.
Vic ain't saying that.
Yeah.
Vic-
Chuck Pagano. Chuck Pagano said, I'm afraid to go up to Lambeau.
Wow.
During the press conference, his presser, weekly presser.
What?
And and that's what I said. I said, why would you say that so your players can hear and the Green Bay Packers can put bulletin board material? They got their asses kicked when they went up there. But he said, I'm afraid to go up there to close out his press conference. And I said, why would you say that? Because you're sending a negative message to your troop.
Your team. Yeah. I don't want to hear that from my coach.
So the question I want to ask you, though, is we know with Vic, and God bless him, he's overcome so much physically and personal in his personal life. He battled leukemia, and he overcame it. And I'm sure he sees life in a different manner. Do you think that affected his judgment or his intensity?
You're talking about Chuck.
Talking about Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck Pagano.
Right.
See, I'm a big fan of you.
Yeah, right.
But Chuck
Okay.
Pagano, do you think that affected his drive and his grit and his perspective on the game, having battled and overcome? So, and that's a trick.
No, he's been coaching for a long time. I think he is who he is. I think if anything, that made him more, grateful for life. But I don't think it had anything to do with is how he approaches football. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like more, I don't know. I mean, more grace or like more, I don't know. I wouldn't
point.
say that.
I guess that's the point I'm trying to get. He's a little bit more humbled.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so, and like Vic Fangio would say, "Aren't you son of a?" Or Buddy Ryan, "You mother." Get your right.
Yeah.
Vic, Chuck Pagano may approach it now like, "Hey guys, listen, we got to get out there and play."
Yeah.
You see, you want the same results, but it's a different way of
approaching it,
giving your message to these guys.
Yeah.
And most people are going to react to a guy that's yelling at them, "You cock, but right?" As opposed to
it depends
hey,
though.
Listen.
It depends.
Okay, help
me.
me.
It depends. Like I played for Wade Phillips for a long time, and he was so soft and passive, but he had a way of like getting the best out of us by like giving us bones, like throwing us bones, like y'all go home early, or we won't do this kind of stuff forever. Like, but I trust y'all to be ready. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. So it just depends on like the just to approach the ins and outs of it, really.
Right.
Because personality plays a part. Because sometimes it can backfire you too. The guy who's yelling at you all the time. It's like, man, looking, man, hey. I'm a grown man too. You better relax. So it just depends, man. Like it's different. Like it's I can't really pinpoint that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right. I mean, a college coach has to even look at Fitzgerald. He's like blocking the players as they come off the bus. I mean, to get them all charged up. It's different for a professional because they're being grown men and all. You don't want to treat them like infants or anything. So there's a fine line.
It's a fine line. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So, but don't you think that you need a good cop, bad cop?
You gotta have a fine line. You gotta have like somebody in there gotta let you know that we're passionate about it too, and y'all need to tighten up for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you see,
that's on the players though.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, like if you know your coach ain't like that, somebody got to step up and be like that.
So that's what I was getting at. When do the players, and you and I talked about this, and you were on with us early on before Thanksgiving, and we were talking about identity for this team, and you said by Thanksgiving, they should know their identity.
Yeah.
And of course, by that time, David Montgomery was the identity of the offense because they finally started to run the rock. But as a defensive player, watching just like all of us, what happened with this football team, especially during a 6-game losing streak, how would you have handled, or how do you think it would be handled from a defensive perspective, busting your ass and doing everything you can, watching on the offensive side of the ball things go to the
That's like
wayside?
the most frustrating thing ever. like especially when we playing our butts off and like we just had a 3 and out, it's an interception. It's like, my God, so that can really take a toll on you. Like if it's happening game after game, it's like, okay, guys, this is insane. You know, all we can do is come out there and do our best. They're gonna end up scoring on us because they got so many opportunities. So it's kind of frustrating, man, for real. And it's like nothing you can do about it, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta hold their part.
You being a former player, how did you handle watching the 6-game losing streak?
Just shaking my head. just shaking my head, man. Like, man, I wish I can go talk to him.
What would you have said to him if you could?
Like, I just had some questions. Like, what's going on? Like, what are y'all hungry or like what? Y'all laying down right now or what? We got a whole season left. Like,
yeah, you guys tired?
Yeah. Like, is it COVID getting everybody?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. That we got to get a whole league like love for that, man. For getting through, like for entertaining us through this crap, man. Because I already know that's a struggle on the guys, man. I couldn't imagine waking up every day getting tested. Like, man, come on, man.
But see, here's the deal, though. Here's the scary part about it. Yeah. Because the Bears are going to back into the playoffs. They're losing. The Arizona Cardinals are losing to the LA Rams.
It's over.
18,
it's official. We're in 18-7 Rams.
18-7. The Rams defeat the Arizona Cardinals. The Bears back into the playoffs. They'll get either the New Orleans Saints or the Seattle Seahawks next week. For the is it next week the bye week?
Saturday and Sunday, yeah.
Wild card
Packers will be off, Chiefs will be off.
But see, here's the deal. Here's the deal. What many people are kind of concerned with and questionable. During that 6-game losing streak, Chicago was calling for the heads of Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace, Ted Phillips, Mitchell Trubisky. They wanted to clean house and get them all out.
So did we.
Yeah, so did we. But of course, with the turnaround of the 3-game win streak. And getting into the playoffs, those guys that I just mentioned, they're going to go up to George McCaskey and Virginia McCaskey up there at Hallis Hall and say, hey, listen, despite the 6-game losing streak, we started 5-1.
Yeah.
Just everything I said to you earlier. We still got into the playoffs. Yeah, but you backed in. It doesn't matter. We got into the playoffs. We deserve another opportunity. This is what they're going to pitch to ownership.
Yeah.
Do you think they deserve to come back another year?
Yeah, that playoff, getting to the playoffs holds it hold a lot of weight.
Even
it don't matter.
Even if
it don't matter.
Even 8-8. I mean, that's
it don't matter because every team, it's an 8-8 league.
I know, and it's an
8-8 league.
Not always. The 7th seed would not have gotten in any other year.
No, I'm saying like
they've got an extra team.
It's set up to be 8-8. Like you're set up to be 8-8. Like nobody's going to dominate.
Yeah.
Like,
They've
look
officially
at the Patriots. Look at the Patriots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So any given year, like anybody can emerge. Like so.
Well, the Bears are officially 8-8 now, 35-16.
Well, the Bears are officially out. Excuse me. The Bears have officially ended the regular season of 2020 with an 8-8 record. They fall to the Green Bay Packers by a final score of 35-16. The Packers improved to 13-3.
Yep.
They get the number 1 seed. They get the bye week, and of course, the Bears will wait for their opponent to see who they will clash against next week. Your call 773-763-9278, 773-763 WCPT. Let's go out to the phone lines. Tommy is first in line, joining us on the Rewind Sports 60, the Bears post-game show. Tommy, how are you, man?
I'll say hey to you guys, man. It's a new year. I just want to say thank you for last year. Thank you for all of the guests that you have on and stuff. But I just would like to point something out to you, and I hope you guys, as astute as you are, will recognize this. I believe that the whole front office of the Chicago Bears need to be completely fired, all of them. Every last one of them. And the reason why I say this, man, is because it's absolutely pathetic when you stop and you think that the way the Bears look playing against teams that was 300 compared to playing the Green Bay Packers. It's like paraplegics playing against Olympic runners or something. So I just want to say thank you for a new year, man. I've given up drinking. I've given up
Tommy.
stuff, man. Because of these Bears, man, I'm telling you, 12 steps don't work. All you got to do is watch one Chicago Bears game. I love you guys.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you
so much, man.
Yo,
we appreciate you.
He might be right though. It ain't time for nagging him to go. It's time for pacing him to go, maybe.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
I mean, I just wanted to mention that the Bears will be playing the Saints now. But, I mean, obviously, we've gone through this before about changes in the front office. And, I mean, a lot of what goes on, it's the players. Somehow we thought that they weren't playing up to their capabilities through the middle of the season, obviously. And whose fault is that? Well, I thought it was the coaching myself.
No, you're right.
But maybe there needs to be some changes in the front office, but I don't think that's going to happen because they made the playoffs. Personally, we'll see.
And Quentin Dempsey, I mean, you said that, hey, if you make the playoffs, doesn't matter how you get in, the fact that you make the playoffs, it carries a lot of weight. I think it's unfortunate, and I think it does a disservice to the Chicago Bear fan base because, I mean, for whatever you think of Chicago Bear fans and Chicago sports fans, I mean, we're loyal to a fault, but we can see mediocrity.
You call it straight. You call it how it is.
We can see, and if you looked at Green Bay, if you looked at this game, the Packers and the Bears, and you looked at the offense of both teams, you saw what Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he said, hey, it was like a cat playing with a mouse. I'm going to do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Every team almost. He's having an incredible year.
But you look at the play selection. You look at the play selection. But then when you flip the script and look at the Bears' offensive play calling, it was night and day.
Yeah.
It was night and day. And so Bear fans can see that the quarterback that we have in place now is not the guy. You said it earlier to start the show that he's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
To me, Marvelous, this is why you have to make a decision now. For the simple fact that if you give him one more year, you're still setting back the franchise another 3.
They can't give him another year though,
dude. It takes 3 to 5 years for a championship to get on a championship, and now it's more like 1 to 3 years to get on the championship run.
I mean, he's clearly going to be playing next week.
You cannot bring him back. And the Bears, because of their loyalty, they're forcing Bear fans to accept this guy as our starting quarterback. They are forcing us, showing us, look at the numbers. And I'm tired of numbers because, as they say, the old cliche, numbers lie. And they have certainly lied in this situation regarding Mitchell Trubisky. He threw, he had his, 1,000-yard pass completion, third on the all-time list behind Jay Cutler and Jimmy Harbaugh. And so he's third in that category, and it's like, wow, look at the numbers. No, these numbers are deceptive. This guy is not a number one quarterback to lead you to the championship.
Yeah. This is the only comeback I got for that. It's a new season now, baby. It's a whole new season now.
And
if he gets us to the NFC Championship, everything gonna change for Mitchell.
I know. In fact,
let me tell you something.
He ain't gotta get us to the Super Bowl. Get us to the NFC Championship.
Fact of the matter is, they took New Orleans to overtime, but it was Foles at quarterback on November 1st.
Yeah. Listen to me. If Mitchell Trubisky leads, hey, listen, you guys watching on Facebook Live, we're streaming live. Quentin Dempsey's in studio, Marvelous One. You guys listening on WCPT 820 AM, you're watching us on Facebook. Listen, if Mitchell Trubisky leads the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship game, if he does that, I swear to God, I swear to Almighty, I swear to you, I will just down into my skivvies, my Hanes, because I wear Hanes because I like Michael Jordan, so I wear Hanes. I will put my Hanes on with my mask. I will run down. I will run down the magnificent mile. I don't care what the temperature is.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I mean, since they didn't give him the option, is he now going to be a free agent after the year?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, maybe
he'll franchise tag him.
Okay, well, maybe he'll choose to leave.
They can franchise tag him. Hey,
maybe he will. Maybe he know what's going on more than us. Maybe he know he needs somewhere else to go.
Right, because I made the playoffs, so this might be my chance to make some money somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that they're looking for a quarterback.
This might be the burst the Bears need to get back to that 5-1 team. There's a new season. Everything goes out the window. That happen. We lock it in on the Saints. Let's see what's good, Mitchell. Mitchell, get us 17 points and don't turn the ball over, please. We're going to do our best to stop Drew Brees now.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bear Central here at WCPT 820 AM, the Rewind Sports 60. Jerry Riles, the Marvelous One, Dan Marver, of course, the 17th letter of the alphabet, Quentin Dempsey in the studio. And, of course, we go out to our TRS60 hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, you love him. He's number 51 in your programs. He's number 1 in our hearts, and he is our top-notch Bear analyst, along with the Q, Quentin Dempsey. He is none other, number 51. He's Bruce Heron on our TR60 hotline. What's up, Bruce? How are you?
Hey, man, look, I'm going to tell you guys something. Through the first half, I'm saying, man, we got a chance. We can do this. We can do this. But you know what? Rather than me go on about my feelings about this game, there's a guy I want to introduce right now. I'm taking personal responsibility for everything that comes out of his mouth.
Okay, get that button ready.
Better known as I'm Mama's boy Otis. I'm one of a kind. The babies all love me for my life and the mind. Yeah, Otis.
What's happening? What's happening?
Big O. What's up, Otis?
Hey.
Otis Wilson.
Fine, thank you. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
We got you, Otis. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm listening to y'all. Half of y'all know what you're talking about, and the other half don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's why we got you on here, and you and Bruce Herring and Quentin Dempsey to straighten us out, because we don't know what the hell we talking about when we look at this Chicago Bears team, man. Hey, listen, they just fell to the hated Green Bay Packers. They have a 6-game losing streak, and they still getting to the playoffs, man. So we certainly don't know what we talking about. So clear us up.
Well, let me say this, because the way the system is set up this year, to be 8-8, you know, that to me, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. But it is what it is. So you got one more game, and I don't know who they're going to play.
Saints.
I think I heard you guys say the Saints.
Yes.
The Saints going to beat them by 30 points. You know, flat out 30 points. You think Green Bay embarrassed, so they're going to really be embarrassed when they get to Drew Brees. But
I don't think so.
Green Bay is you got to face it this year, guys. They are on the money. I mean, they stalled a couple of times, but for the most part, when they had the ball, they controlled it. They controlled the clock. They controlled, you know, what they wanted to do out there. The Bears played very good, as best they could play with what they had. Now that what you quarterback sneak 4 times in a row and you get it, and then the 5th time you run the football, you pass the football. Come on, that's stupid. You don't do that. You don't do that. So it's a lot that can be said, and it's a lot to say. You got a long way to go before you call yourself a playoff team.
Hey, we on with the great Otis Wilson of the Super Bowl winning Chicago Bears back in 1985. Of course, joined by Bruce Herring, who played with the greatest of all time. That, of course, may he rest in peace, Walter Payton, number 34. And, of course, in studio, former Chicago Bears. This guy was a hard-hitting mother. Hey, let me tell you something, Otis. I don't know if you ever had an opportunity to meet Quentin Dempsey, but he's in studio joining us as well to recap this Bear game and this Bear season. But this guy, Quentin Dempsey, who's sitting across from me in the studios, man, I truly believe, because you guys were the most dominant defense I've ever laced them up in the National Football League, in the world, in my opinion. But this guy, Quentin Dempsey, he could have played with y'all. He could have played with you guys. I don't know if you remember. I
don't know about that, Jerry.
Man, you was a hitter.
I don't know about that, Jerry.
Did you remember Quentin Dempsey? This guy was a hitter.
I remember him. I know exactly who he is, and I have much respect for his game. And when you come out there and play with us, you got to leave it on the sideline because we're taking no prisoners. So anybody that has that attitude and mentality, of course they can play with us.
Well, this guy certainly has the attitude, and that's one reason why he's a part of the Rewind Sports 60. And, you know, Otis, I talked with Q about, you know, the 6-game losing streak that the Bears went on and how this whole city wanted to just go up to Hallis Hall and dismantle that whole place. COVID or not, they wanted to rip that whole place apart. As a defensive unit, and for those people who may be too young or don't remember how dominant that 85 defense was, and God forbid, thank God y'all didn't go on a 6-game losing skid like this, but how would the defense have handled a situation like we just experienced with a 6-game losing streak and a quarterback who, well, I need to hear your comments on the quarterback situation, but how would you think would have handled a 2-game losing streak?
That's a good question.
Well, you know, anybody that's a competitor certainly don't want to lose.
Right.
And to be on whether it's a 1-game, 2-game, 3-game, any kind of losing streak, it's frustrating because you're trying everything in your book to turn that thing around and make sure that you put yourself back on the right track. You know, so it had to be frustrating. But keep in mind, guys, Chicago's always had a great defense and never had an offense. They always had Walter Payton left, Walter Payton right, and every now and then they'll throw the football. So it's always been defense, and they're burning their defense out. I mean, when you keep them out there on the field, I don't care how many Cleo Max you got or a team hit, they can only play for so long. I mean, when you get this deep into the season, your body is beat up, banged up, and hurting. But you keep going because of the pride you have and fellow teammates that you play with. So Chicago's got to start doing a better job of evaluating and bringing people in here. But for the most part, it starts upstairs, and that's with the McCaskey family. I mean, they rather settle with folks that's going to do what they say do, how they say do it, as opposed to somebody that has a mind of their own. I mean, they really, really, behind the scenes, never accepted us as the 85 team. They thought we were, they said that, we never want a team like that again because we got too much notoriety and the focus wasn't on Chicago Bears. I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we put ourselves in this position by playing good football.
That's it. What it boiled down to.
So again, we're on with the great Otis Wilson, who played with the dominating team, 1985 Super Bowl winning Chicago Bears, and of course joined by the great Bruce Heron, number 51, who played with the beloved as well. And of course, we're joined in studio by Quentin Demps. They all three of them played with the beloved. Marvelous and I were Bear fans and media whores, but we never played with them. But back to what you just said, Otis, are you saying that the Bears front office, the ownership or the family said they didn't want a team, and I've heard rumblings of this as well, but you're saying that they didn't want a dominating team of that caliber again because it took the notoriety away from the family and it put too much promise on the players, the individuality of the players?
No doubt about it. I didn't stutter. No doubt about it.
Wow. So, Otis, I didn't know that. That's weird. That's heartbreaking.
Well, Bruce, you've been in an organization long enough to know, what's going to ins and outs. But it's always been a taboo thing that hey, it's an honor to wear that C. I'm like, hey, a uniform's a uniform. We make the uniform.
Right.
Yeah.
So this leads me to ask this question that you brought up for me, because the last time the Bears went to the Super Bowl, that was of course a Lovie Smith coach team, and believe it or not, Rex Grossman was the quarterback, and he didn't get that team there. But after going 10-6 in his final year as the Bears coach, they let him go. And a lot of people were kind of surprised and stunned. They go, well, wait a minute. They told this man that he had to have a winning season if he wanted to come back the following year. He finished with a 10-6 mark, and he still got fired. Do you think that was part of their decision, that they didn't want to, again, get to that level of dominance, and Lovie was on his path, on his way to get there, and say they cut their legs out from underneath them so they wouldn't get to that point?
Well, I would say this. I mean, anybody that wins 10 games and get fired, you scratch your head and you wonder why.
Right.
But for the most part, they are grasping at anything and everything, to get back to that point of where we were. But see, what you got to understand, you don't have those caliber people around the organization no more. Whether they're coaches, whether they're players, and they I don't want to say they're desperate. They don't have to be desperate because they're the one that signed the checks, but they don't make wise decisions. Let me just put it that way.
Well,
let me say football decisions.
Well, after watching this season, and again, the black cloud that lingers over this football team in 2020 is that 6-game losing streak. And fans have been calling for a 6-game losing streak. Fans have been calling for Ted Phillips' head. They've been calling for Matt Nagy's head. They've been calling for Ryan Pace's head. They want Mitchell Trubisky out. The Bears, again, they backed into the playoffs. And the system is the way it is because of, what we're going through. But do they stick to their guns and say, hey, listen, we believe that we're on the rise now because we made it to the playoffs. Mitchell Trubisky is finally getting the grasp of the offense and our running game. We're utilizing the running back that we have. So we're heading in the positive direction despite the fact that we struggled. Or do you think that they seriously, George McCaskey, Virginia McCaskey, I don't know how much the input, but George McCaskey seriously needs to clean house and start the rebuild now?
I don't really know if they. You got to understand, a lot of these owners that have these teams are football people. The McCaskey family is not football people. When Muggsy was around, those were football people, and now they've gone. They've been bought out, gone a long time, and the organization never put in a good scouting department. And Bruce can attest to a lot of this. I mean, they when they make their picks and when they have the people around, they're not real. Look, Ted Phillips, he's an accountant. Come on, you ain't gonna tell me nothing about football because you don't know nothing about football. You gonna read a book and then tell me what to do? So it always goes back to you have to be a good football player, have good football minds around, because Chicago's always had good defenses, and it's been bits and pieces. You got 4 or 5 people in them defenses that solidifies everything, but you had a great mind in Buddy Ryan. So that really brought it home. That hasn't been around in a long time, and you see, the fruits of your labor. Come on. It shouldn't take that long to get back to the playoffs. And now, they limp into the playoffs, and I hear you guys keep talking about the 6-game losing streak. Well, look at the season game by game, starting with Detroit. Every game
they should have lost that one.
That they won, they could have lost that game. Sure. They barely got out of those games.
But that's football though too though. You can't say that though. That's football though, man.
They played the Baltimore. I'm sorry, the Indianapolis Colts, the team that had a good defense, and they started playing good teams. They lost. So I go back to saying you have to have the horses. You can't run in the Kentucky Derby with a Clydesdale against a sprinter. It ain't gonna happen.
Otis, this is Dan. A lot of teams have that same situation, like the Bears, family owned, the Rooneys, and of course the Hunts, and so a lot of them don't have football minds in the management. So I think that maybe what they really need is a football mind, particularly the general manager type of job rather than ownership, because ownership a lot of times they are just accountants, honestly. Counting the cash.
I'm not saying in the family. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying you have to evaluate the family that's paying these people. You have to evaluate the people that's going to be in these positions.
Okay.
Well, the family got to know a little bit because they hiring them.
Excuse me.
The family got to know a little bit though about football because they got to pick and choose the guys that they hire, right?
They got to evaluate these people that they bringing up. So that a lot of it's their fault because their mentality is, and it's always been the case. They get something. If you see a guy that's worth $20 million on the stage right now, the Bears want to pay him $5 million. They want to get him cheap. If they can get a guy. That's why I know. Look at their drafts in the last 2. They taking 4th, 5th, 6th round people.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get a first round every now and then, but then they take Trubisky. Come on.
Otis,
you got to make sound decisions.
Otis, who would you have taken in that draft?
He's in Kansas City right now.
So you wouldn't have took him. You would have took Deshaun Watson.
You would have taken Mahomes over Deshaun Watson. I would not have.
Yeah, nobody saw Mahomes doing what he's doing, man. Everybody, Deshaun Watson was a clear-cut best one in
I
that
would have
draft.
taken Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I would have took the Prescott, the kid that got hurt over in
Dallas.
in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Nah, I think that's
I would
hindsight.
have took him.
Nah, Watson was a clear-cut.
Anybody but Trubisky. So why do you think why do you think Ryan Pace fell in love with him? And what we heard, and if you're just tuning in, we're joined by Otis Wilson, Mama Boys, one of a kind. Of course, Bruce Heron, former Chicago Bear, laced it up back in the day with the great Walter Payton, may he rest in peace. And of course, the 17th letter of the alphabet, Quentin Demps, joining us in studio, former Bears safety. What they say that Mitchell Trubisky's stock was off the charts when he went to Indianapolis for the combine, working out and of course interviewing, and that's what led Ryan Pace to move up one spot to get this guy, because his upside was tremendous. He was a super athlete. His IQ as far as football was concerned was off the charts, and he felt that this was the future as far as the Bears quarterbacking was concerned. What did you see in Mitchell Trubisky, and how did you react when you heard that he was the selection by the Chicago Bears?
Well, I ain't picking somebody to play cards with me on the plane when we come back from a game. I'm picking somebody that can, be productive out there. And to me, a guy played 12 games in college, 1 year. I don't care what kind of chart you're looking at. That was the wrong chart to be looking at.
I'll tell you why, though. I know why.
I just don't see it. I mean, I don't know what they see.
Well, here,
because Mitchell is the prototype quarterback off the field. He aced the interviews. I'm sure he was good in the classroom. He dressed properly, and that's why Ryan Pace fell in love with him. How he carried himself. He knew he wasn't going to have any drama. He's going to have a stand-up guy. He's going to handle the media well, and so that's what made him jump up. But what he didn't realize is that when the lights come on, it's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. And I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying that's what made Mitchell stand out. Is that like he's a prototypical NFL quarterback off the field. Like, he's gonna handle this business. He's gonna be, you know what I mean? But between the lines is deer in the headlights for the most part.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. My position is this. My position. Let me see that, Otis. My position is this. Mitchell Trubisky played 1 year in college. He was at North Carolina for 4. He had to wait until his senior year before he actually got his chance. So there were 3 starting quarterbacks. There were 3 years prior to him starting that he couldn't beat out the guy in front of him.
Wow.
Now, can anybody name the guy that was starting for North Carolina when Mitch was in his junior year?
Nope.
You know what? He's not in the NFL. If he is, he's a second or third string quarterback someplace.
Interesting. That's a great point.
So how can a guy come in 1 year after being in college for 4 years, in 1 year, that all of a sudden at the end of that 1 year they saw all of this footage, all of this data that said this guy's got more ability and more potential to be successful than guys who were in the trenches playing in bowl games, being Heisman Trophy winners and leading their teams to championship. It doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, you know what,
It doesn't make sense.
Bruce? That's a very good point. But here's what stumps me with the selection. Here's what stumps me. Not the fact that he was even at North Carolina and he started his senior year. Here's what stumps me. Mitchell Trubisky is from a football state. That, of course, the state of Ohio, home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I believe Mitchell Trubisky's senior year was Mr. Ohio. I think he was Mr. Ohio in the state of Ohio for football, and the Ohio State Buckeyes didn't even entertain giving him a scholarship. for the Ohio University didn't even entertain giving him a scholarship. So if you are Mr. Ohio as quarterback and the top school in the state don't even try to get you, let alone any other Big Ten school don't try to eat you up, that you got to go to North Carolina. And no offense to North Carolina and the Tar Heels and their program, but if you're Mr. Ohio in the state of Ohio with the Ohio State University and you can't even get an invite to there, something's wrong. Something is wrong, and now you're leading the NFL storybook franchise? That's ridiculous.
That's heavy.
Good point, guys.
That's really
Very
good stuff.
point.
I didn't even know those things.
Okay, it's Marquise Williams was the quarterback before Trubisky.
Hey, gentlemen, Otis, Bruce, Q, you guys, we want to take a quick phone call?
Yeah, for sure.
Let it fly.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Derek calling from Morton Grove. Derek, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Actually, it's not Derek, it's Tor. I don't think I ever said my name.
Okay. What's up, brother? How are you?
Good. You guys have been talking a lot about, with how to perhaps clean house with the Bears organization, but I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm actually going to defend Nagy's coaching record. In 3 years, it's 2 playoff appearances, no losing seasons, and it is a winning percentage for the 3 seasons combined, which I believe makes him probably the 4th best Bears head coach in history.
Wow. Okay. hey, do the offensive rankings too. The last 3 years. See what his play calling has been like.
Well, I'm just giving you the numbers.
No, that's good information.
Yeah, next week, hey man, next week, call us next week after the Bears fall to the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs.
No, they're going to beat the Saints. The Bears are going to beat the Saints.
What winning season they had?
Last they went to the playoffs.
No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they won the division. They were 12-4, right?
Yeah,
right.
And then the last 2 seasons, they've gone 8-8. And those aren't losing seasons.
Right.
I mean, they're not, losing records.
Right.
By the numbers, strictly by the numbers.
No, that's good stuff. I think that's a good point.
Really
Thanks, sir. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Go ahead, Otis.
I'm saying that he really didn't have nothing to compare with those other coaches we had. I mean, they were bums.
I guess the last one was lovely.
Comparing them with the coaches they've had, prior to this guy. Oh my God, that ain't compared to nothing.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. And we're on with Otis Wilson, Bruce Herron, and of course Quentin Demps, former Chicago Bear players on our TR60 hotline. That's the one thing, and I don't like because you can play with the numbers and you can make the numbers say anything or mean anything. And yes, they went 12-4, and yes, they made the playoffs. But a lot of people, even during that winning streak, and the 5-game win record that they started off the season with, many of us said it appears to be smoke and mirrors. And like Q said, hey, listen, you win by 1 point or 100 points, it's still football and you still win. But it's not like a dominating record, i.e. the Pittsburgh Steelers before they went on their tailspin, that they were just kicking people's ass before the New Orleans Saints this season. They were kicking people's ass. So when a team got it, and when a team just get by the skin of their teeth. And I think that's a reflection of what Matt Nagy's records indicate, that this Bears team, since his tenure, has been getting by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to say this: when you look at Matt Nagy's numbers, yeah, you look at his numbers. His numbers look pretty good. But even that 12-4 season, who did they lose to in the playoffs? Philadelphia. They lost in the first round.
Double doink.
A double doink.
I mean, so I mean, they got nowhere. You got 12. You go 12-4. Then after that, you go. What is 8 in 2019? 8-8 again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but see, when you look at the numbers don't look that bad. But when you're looking at football, the numbers, you just take the numbers and throw them away, man. They don't tell you nothing. They don't tell you nothing good about his record. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
I'll say here, I'll give each of y'all a $100 bill if they go and beat the Saints.
Hey, well, Quentin Demps said that they can beat them.
Yeah, they're going to beat the Saints.
Tell us why, Q.
I think the
There's
Saints.
always one in the group that's going. There's always one guy in the group that drank a lot.
I know. I gotta have hope, man. I gotta have hope. I'm only 3 years from the game. I ain't out that long. I'm hoping this new season give him some energy, man. You know. So I'm being hopeful. I'm being hopeful. I'm being hopeful, man. Hopefully Kamara ain't playing. Hopefully he's still on the COVID list.
No. Hopefully they get locked in there. Well, they gonna be at home, so they can't get locked in the hotel room. They can't miss the bus, dude. Hopefully they get locked in the locker room and somebody lose the key. That's the only way Bears got a chance, man.
I'm just being hopeful. We'll see though. We'll see.
No, I get what you're saying because anybody can be beat on any given Sunday.
Right.
I mean, let's face that. You got to come to work and prepare and get ready. But when you look at how teams are playing, who's healthy, the situation, you got to be. They got to be. The Saints have to be a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, easily. Hey, Otis. That's where my $100 going. That's where my $100 going. My $100 is going on the Saints next week. Offense to Bears.
I'm taking the Bears with the points. I hope they give us 25 points.
It might be a long afternoon. So, in essence, as we get ready to close, and I'd like to hear from all three of you, and of course the marvelous one. Yeah. Once the Bears are done, and I truly believe that they're done after 60 minutes of football against the New Orleans Saints next week, where do we go from here as far as an organization is concerned? And Otis, you kind of told us what you truly believe, how things operate up there. But once everything is done and the end of the season interviews and meetings and all of that takes place, where does this Bear brass go as far as the 2021 season is concerned with their front office, their coaching staff, and of course their player?
Well, number one, they ain't going nowhere because they going to a playoff game. And in their mind is we're going in the right direction because we went to a playoff game. They really not evaluating. Well, let me scratch that word, evaluate. The people that they put in place right now, when you watch the rhetoric coming out of the locker room, let's start with Nagy. He says what you want him to say. You don't deviate from the plan. Ryan Pace don't say nothing at all. And the team, keeps doing what they do. Now, they keep talking about Mitsubishi scored 30 points in the last 3 games. Well, they played against the Texans. They didn't play against nobody.
Jaguars.
Jaguars, they had to do that in the third, fourth quarter and barely got through that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get the same ice cream you've been getting the last 2 years. They're going to force feed you that for another 2 years.
Another how many years?
2.
At least another 1 or 2 years. If he come back with another 9-18, that's successful to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll get another playoff game. They're missing the big picture. Go get people that's on the edge. That you got to monitor, that you got to keep disciplined. They're not going to have players like that around. They got people in that organization that when they say jump, the boys say how high. We wasn't going for that.
Right. Bruce?
We came here to play football. I don't care if you don't like me. We come here to win.
Yeah. No, you know what? And
that's my take on it.
And I love you for that, and I appreciate you for that, because the one thing that irritates me the most, first of all, I'm not a big fan of club dub. You win a game and you're partying in the locker room like you won a Super Bowl. No, act like you've been there. So I'm not a fan of club dub.
Okay.
But I'm also sick and tired of all the cliches, like you said, all the cliches that Matt Nagy. Listen to this presser. After this game, he's going to come and say, all the guys, we play together and we love each other and we got each other's back and, we never gave up and we always believe. I don't want to hear that because it's BS. I don't want to hear that. I want you to talk football to me. I want you to show me some sense of respect and a level of knowledge as far as the game is concerned. And I want you to say, hey, man, we got our ass kicked. Aaron Rodgers beat the hell out of us. I want to hear that because at least you're being straight up and you're being honest to me. I don't want to hear this cliche stuff. I'm sick of it. I really, really am. Bruce, your thoughts on what happens now after they lose this playoff game?
Well, I tell you what, if they're not going to change out management, make some changes in management, then they definitely have to make some changes with the coaching staff. You know what? I'm sure Pagano is a nice guy, but I'm gonna tell you something. And Otis knows this. Buddy wouldn't have the defense playing the way this defense is played, especially with the talent that they have. There's no way in hell Buddy would allow that to happen. But Buddy was a great schemer. Buddy was great at recognizing the talent he had and what he could do with that talent. He always put guys in position. Prior to the 85 team, Otis came in, 79 or 80? Otis, what year would you come in? To
The 80 season.
80, yeah.
80. Yeah. I mean, we didn't have the best talent, but I'm going to tell you something. Buddy put the guys in position with the talent that they had, put them in position to be successful. And I'm telling you, man, and guys played their asses off. I mean, that 81 team, we didn't have the horses that this team has today. We didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have some of the horses.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, we played better defense. We played better defense. We were one of the top 5 defenses in the goddamn league.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
No, you good.
But you know what? That's what the organization needs to do. They need to go through and evaluate the coaching and say, look, if this is the best talent we can get, then we've got to have better coaching. And you know what? And I like I said, I'm sure Pagano is a nice guy, a great guy, and he's been successful in the league. But you know, he's not what the Bears need. He really isn't what the Bears need. It was too easy today for Green Bay to drive up and down the field on them. It's just crazy.
Too easy. Well, it is crazy. Hey, man. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. We certainly thank you so very much, Otis, for taking some time out to join us on this Bears post game show. Disappointing loss, but the Bears back into the playoffs, man. Any closing thoughts before we say goodbye to you?
Well, I want to come back next weekend and talk about this thing one more time.
Let's do it, brother. Yeah. It's a bet. It's a deal. Hey, Bruce, thank you so very much.
Jerry,
yes, sir.
Jerry, we got Otis hooked.
hey, the Bears got us hooked because we all want to beat the living crap out of them. But thank you so very much, man. We look forward to talking with you next week. Hey, Bruce, thank you, brother. We love you, and have a safe week, both of you guys. Happy New Year, and we certainly will talk with you, okay?
All right, love you guys too.
I'll talk to you guys later. God bless you.
Talk to you next week. God bless you. Be good. Hey, Q, thank you so very much, brother.
You,
closing thoughts real quick. You got 10 seconds.
COVID's going to give everybody grace. We'll be back.
Okay.
Go Bears. Hey, Bears beat the Saints.
Bears and Saints. The games are being played at noon, 3:30 and 7, Saturday and Sunday. The schedule will come out tonight. And once the Bears beat New Orleans, they play Green Bay again.
There you go. Marvelous. Thanks to the Marvelous one. Thanks to the 17th letter in the alphabet, Quentin Dempsey, and, of course, Lauren Cox on assignment. Yours truly, Jerry Riles. Thanks to our outstanding producer, Devin Tingle. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy the week. Stay safe. Happy New Year. And we'll talk to you after a Bear game next week. Go Bears!
Out to the ball game, Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
All right. Let's hear it from the greatest fans ever. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back Forest Root. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Hey, let's get some runs. Thank you.
star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The Rewind Sports 60.
Right before this game with players going on the COVID-19 list. How has the team addressed this to prevent an outbreak before the playoffs?
Yeah, look, what's more important right now is how we played tonight. There's league protocols that we're following each step of the way, and I was proud of how we played tonight. You know, a lot of guys had to step into some positions they hadn't played, and that was a good team win.
But how concerned are you that with a long season, some of the players are possibly getting lax about protocols?
I'm not going to talk about COVID tonight. I'm going to talk about the game that we played. I was proud of these guys. Kind of go from there.
And Sean, considering the timing of all this, how challenging was this week just, preparing for it as far as game plan?
Well, look, there are a lot of moving parts. It's happened to other teams. I was real proud of how some guys stepped up. Ty was, been working receiver really for the last 3 weeks. He came over. He's played running back before. Tony, we elevated from the practice squad. We had a number of moving parts on defense because of injury and COVID, and it was impressive to see those guys perform tonight.
So you actually ran for more yards in this game than your average on the season without your primary runners. What did you see as the reasons that you're able to have so much success running the ball today?
Look, I think we're playing well up front. We're blocking the perimeter well. That's part of what we want to be able to do. Obviously there's an element that begins to allow you to control games a little bit more. I didn't know. Look, there's one element relative to the running game, but I think one of the bigger challenges on a short week or in this scenario is your protections. And Carolina's a team that's got a lot of exotic looks. They give you a lot of different third down looks. So that becomes a little bit more of a point of emphasis. And look, Ty was fantastic tonight. I mean, he played exceptionally well. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of a number of the other younger guys that stepped in.
Sean, how big of a luxury is it when you're in this?
Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
How big of a luxury is it when you're in this like weird situation that you're able to plug a guy like Ty in there who's had so much experience in this league and at running back?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a credit to him. We had to we had a little cram course yesterday, and everyone understood it was going to be a little longer practice. Guys knew that, and his versatility is unique, and that's something we were very fortunate to have today.
Sean, was Ty in the receiver room all season, or has he been in both throughout the year?
Well, he started training camp in the running back room, then eventually we moved him to the receiver room with some injuries that we had. So he'd been predominantly with the receiving room, after training camp, and then a day or two ago we switched him back.
Sean, 5 interceptions defensively, and you stopped the Panthers on some down situations. Just your overall impressions of the defense today and kind of the job they did.
Yeah, listen, we dropped 3. That was anytime you turn the ball over like that or take it away like that, you're gonna win a lot of games. So again, that we won all those key statistics that you always hear us talk about that really tend to gravitate to winning and losing, and we were able to do that.
Sean, in situations like today, how aware are you of the other games that are going on? Like, are you aware at all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the game you're paying attention to is Green Bay, Chicago. You're not paying attention to it. In second half, at some point, the scores are rotating on the scoreboard. So periodically, with a lead, you look at it. That's about it.
Coach, I know you always talk about how much the postseason is like a natural drug and how much you enjoy it and making another run at it. Just your general thoughts about Indeed trying to make another run at it with this group.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to have that opportunity. We always know it's going to be competitive in each of the rounds. It's, with 7 teams this year, there'll be a lot of good football games next weekend. And, again, we feel like we're fortunate enough to be in the tournament. And that's all when you start the season, you start with winning your division and then the best seed you can possibly get. And we kind of go from there.
Sean, do you guys start working on the Bears like on the way back from this one? Does the process after the game change at all? Will you still do the same?
No, the process. The only thing you wait on right now, Saturday or Sunday, of course, and then you set your schedule up accordingly. And it's not unusual that you play a team already that you might play in the playoffs. Sometimes it's a divisional team. Sometimes maybe someone in another division, but that'll begin right away.
The whole Saturday, Sunday thing, Coach, that's just out of your hands and in terms of who will be available to play and all that. I mean, how much thought are you giving right now to that?
Well, if you're asking, do we get a vote in it? we wait and see what day they give us.
Obviously, you'd like one day over the other, right? But
yeah. All right. Thank you.
The Rewind Sports 60.
Sure. Yeah. Drew, you've talked after each game about how you're feeling more and more rhythm. Where do you feel like after what looked like a pretty efficient game and how important was it for you to have a good game in week 17 heading into the playoffs?
I think it was really good. I mean, really for us as a team, I mean, especially down the stretch here, you're playing for so much each and every week. And obviously we've endured a lot throughout this season with injuries and having, various guys down at key positions, throughout. Obviously we were dealt kind of a crazy hand, with the running back situation going into this game. But, man, it says so much about our team, the way that we've been able to respond. And also I think we've been able to see a lot out of young players that now are playing, more pivotal roles for us. And so, as we kind of go into the playoffs here, I think obviously we wanted to end the season, continuing to ascend. And I think for me, just continuing to feel healthier and more comfortable each and every week, coming off my injury. I know we get Mike Thomas back. I think the last 3 weeks being down have been great for him. And, we'll just take it one step at a time here. But bottom line is we know that in order to play our best, in order to achieve the goals that we want to achieve, we've got to have the same approach each and every week with our preparation, with our work habits, and everything that we do. We don't just show up and play. And we put that time, effort, and sense of urgency in throughout the week so that we can get the result we want on Sundays.
Next one's from Ricardo Lecomte.
Drew, you mentioned that running back situation. Montgomery had to switch from the wide receiver room to the running back room today. His game and how hard that is to make that adjustment like that when you get such short notice.
Yeah. Listen, a testament to him because honestly, it wasn't until Saturday morning that we realized that we were going to be out, the running backs. And Ty had a significant role as a receiver in this game, just like he did last week against the Vikings at receiver. And so, all of a sudden it's like, hey, switch gears. Ty is now running back. Tony Jones, you're coming up from practice squad running back. And all right, here's the receivers that now are going to be up to kind of fill this role that Ty had as a receiver. And I mean, you can just imagine all the kind of moving and shaking and chess pieces that kind of needed to be flipped around. And then you kind of going through the game plan and just making sure that, everybody's comfortable with what we're doing. And, but, can't say enough about our coaching staff to be able to do that. And also Ty and the job that he did.
Next one's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Drew, what did you see on the touchdown throw to Emmanuel Sanders? It's like you checked at the line of scrimmage there.
Yeah, it's honestly, I'm trying to remember that one. Help me out.
We're like you had checked and had a play action throw, hit Emmanuel Sanders over the middle in the end zone there.
Yeah, I'm seriously having a blank here on Emmanuel's touchdown. Remember Jared's, I remember Austin's. I just know we were trying to get Emmanuel at least 8 catches in this game. So, down the stretch, you're just trying to feed him. Obviously, he's always a great matchup and a guy that you're trying to feed the ball to. But for the life of me, I am not visualizing his touchdown right now. I'll think of it as we keep talking here.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Drew, in situations like today where all three of the teams vying for the number 1 seed are playing at the same time, like how cognizant of you are that during the game, or do you have to kind of shut it off completely?
Yeah, just shut it off. Just shut it off, play ball. No, if we take care of our business, maybe those pieces fall into place, maybe not, but regardless, just, control what we can control. And yes, I do remember the Emmanuel touchdown now. Yeah, it was a nice little check, play action. He kind of found a little soft spot in the middle of the defense, and we were able to fit it in there. But I thought it was a good scheme, good play call, and good execution.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, Sean kind of alluded to it in that Saturday's practice ran a little longer than you normally would, just because he had to change a lot of different things with the game plan, with having so many guys out. What do you remember about yesterday's practice and fitting in the pieces where they may have not been the day before?
Yeah, like I said, man, there was some stress on Saturday. Just from the moment that we got in the building and realized that, we're down all our running backs and fullback. And I mean, just, think of, all of a sudden those, just making sure that, all right, we're shifting the roster around a little bit. And then now these are the roles that these guys, I mean, a lot of times when you game plan throughout the week, you're game planning for the guys that are going to be in there. So all of a sudden guys are out, we had game planned some stuff for Ty at receiver. All of a sudden he is now in the backfield. So it had ramifications, in a couple different areas, fullback, running back, slot receiver. So, but then again, I mean, listen, this is why you practice so much, right? From training camp to preseason, which we didn't have this year, to the regular season and additional reps after practice and all the stuff that you do in the event that something like this happens. You try to be prepared for it.
Next one's from Jacques Doucet.
Drew, Emmanuel kind of gave his vote for Sean Payton for NFL Coach of the Year in terms of how he's been able to manage all these different situations, different quarterbacks, people being out. I know you've been a tandem here for 15 years, but I just kind of speak to the job he's done this year to get you guys to 12-4 right now.
Listen, phenomenal job. He's always been such a great leader with his team, with the staff. I mean, really in the whole building, and obviously we were in this COVID season where there were just so many unknowns. It felt like rules and protocols were changing weekly, with the number of, then compile that with the number of injuries and various situations that we kind of found ourselves in this year, and the roster having to shift. And, I was down for a few games. Jameis comes in, plays great. Taysom comes in, plays great. You're building the game plan around those guys. And, defensively, having starting corners down at times and other guys coming up, I felt like DA did a great job on the defensive side of the ball, and that, all the guys there and the entire staff. So I think Sean would be the first one to tell you that, man, it's about the culture that we've created here, and it's about the staff, and it's about the way the guys care about one another. But he's certainly done a tremendous job.
We're all set. Thanks, Drew.
I guess. Thanks.
The Rewind Sports 60.
First one's from Amy Just.
Well, you said you want to brag on him. So how good was it having Trey back this week? 13.5 sacks in total for the regular season, and having the defensive front anyway healthy.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we got Trey on the field, we're a better defense. He's been super, super productive this year. I don't know if he's leading or if he's in the second spot in sacks, but,
that means a lot to our defense as far as production. So happy to have him back out there. Happy he's still making plays. I'm gonna brag on him because he should have been in the Pro Bowl. Should have got all the accolades that come with, the amount of production he's had this year. But a lot of guys contributed today.
Next one's from Doug Mouton.
From 5 interceptions as a team, is there a point when it sort of feeds off itself, when sort of everybody wants to get one?
Oh, 100%. It's a team thing. Our offense put up enough points to really make it one-dimensional. And then when our offense is one-dimensional, you got opportunities to make plays on the football. And we had multiple guys come in and contribute. And to see that production from some of the young guys was really encouraging. Speaks to the depth that we have, speaks to our coaching staff and how they have young guys prepared in a game that, we needed. And so it was exciting.
Next one's from Jacques Doucet.
Malcolm, starting your NFL career with this franchise over a decade ago, now making your way back, just your feelings about trying to make a run at another Super Bowl with this group entering the playoffs.
Yeah, with all the context that surrounds the playoffs and the game, you got to really just stay focused, 1 week at a time and do what you got to do to prepare to win one game. It's going to be a lot about playoffs past and the history and all that stuff, but really all that matters is what's right in front of us. And that's his first playoff game when we figure out when that is.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, you answered about all of the picks collectively, but how cool was it to see Grant Haley get his first pick today in the end zone, no less? Man, it was huge. We said it going into the game. We wanted to see, these young players come out and play with confidence and play and make plays because they prepare hard, all year. They're on the scout teams. They're giving us a look, and now there's an opportunity for them to play in a game that counts and that matters, that we need as a team. And to see Grant go out there and make a play with his little amount of experiences he's had out there with this group was fun. And then to see so many other guys contribute in special teams, on defense, on offense, it was a fun win for us as a team.
Next one's from Catherine Terrell.
Malcolm, just with a lot of COVID outbreaks around the league and in light of what happened yesterday, did the captains have to talk to their teammates maybe just about reminding everyone to be careful going into the playoffs? Like, is that something y'all have thought about?
It's something that we've talked about all year, and we know, some things are out of our control, but we're going to do, as much as we can to possibly give ourselves the best chance in the postseason. And to do that, you got to have guys available. So that's going to come with some sacrifices, being smart, staying, pretty much isolating yourself. But we also understand that in a pandemic, some things happen, but we're trying our best to make sure that we limit the amount of exposure we have because we have what we want right in front of us and we can't miss guys as we move forward in the playoffs.
Next one's from Fletcher Mackel.
Yeah, that was actually my question, Malcolm, but just to kind of follow up on the leadership thing. When you won a Super Bowl here, you were kind of the rookie following the leaders in some regard. Do you remember those days? And obviously you won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia as well, but now kind of being the locker room leader and letting everybody know that this is kind of a different experience, being in the playoffs with a legitimate chance to win it all.
Yeah, obviously you've got playoff experience and experience in going all the way. And for me, what's been one of the lessons I learned, especially early on, is to just be yourself the whole time. Nothing changes about the rules of the game. The size of the field is the same. The size of the football is the same. Everything's the same, whether it's the preseason or it's the postseason. The only thing that changes are the circumstances around the game. And so for us, we need to focus just on our job, having fun, executing like we do any other game, not make it bigger than it is.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Malcolm, what was it like for you to see Tom Montgomery just step in and just kind of casually rip off a 100-yard game after having like one carry all season?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it casually. He's somebody who's prepared and has been a back in this league that has had success. He just happens to be behind, a few really good ones. And really carry that load. Rip off 100 yards like it's, like any other Sunday was fun to watch. I'm happy for him. He's somebody who, grinds all year, and then he's able to play the role when we call upon him. He's ready. Not a selfish guy, moves around, plays different positions, and for him to get his opportunity tonight was fun to watch.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Malcolm.
Thanks.
The Rewind Sports 60.
Sanders. First one's from Nick Underhill.
So we saw the little celebration. How did it feel to get that 8th catch today?
Oh, great. Felt great.
Is that what a $500,000 dance looks like?
Yeah, I guess. It felt good. But I think the best part is just winning as a team, right? We were able to get the win. And, obviously we were pulling for Chicago. They didn't get it, so we got the number 2 seed, and we're heading into the playoffs. And, I'm looking forward to it. I know that the intensity is going to be turned up more. The speed's going to be faster. And we got to be ready for it. We got to be prepared for it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, today the next man up mentality hit just about every single position group, especially running backs, with Ty Montgomery, 100 yards for him today. How big was that, just knowing that he's been in your room for most of the season and then flipping over to receiver and having a game, or flipping over to running back, and having a game like that?
Yeah, if you think about just Ty Montgomery in general and just what he did for Green Bay, and what he's capable of doing, he was just himself today. And that's what I told him before the game. I said, you don't have to be anything more than just yourself. And that's what he did. He came out, he prepared all week for receiver at the F position. Then, obviously the COVID situation hit and he had to play running back. And, when I found out we had Ty Montgomery on his team, I knew it was a great pickup because he provides so much depth in so many different positions. And so, I was rooting for him to get that 100-yard game in the 4th, and he ended up getting it. I was extremely happy for him.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, kind of speaking on that, Coach Payton kind of vaguely referenced spending a little extra time in practice, getting those guys ready. Was the whole offense part of that, or how would you just describe like the kind of day leading up to this?
Yeah, I mean, welcome to, I would say 2020, but we're in 21 now, but welcome to COVID football, right? You got to be prepared for anything. And, it's crazy because, Sean Payton was telling us even prior to the season, he said it can hit at any moment and be prepared for anything. And we all kind of know that. And so there's no shock with this anymore. It's like, all right, this happened. All right, we got a next man up mentality. And I know that, that's what everybody says, but it's true. That's the mindset. And, I was just happy for the guys who got an opportunity to showcase the talent today, and they made the most of it.
Next one's from Jacques Doucet.
Emmanuel, can you just speak to this team's ability to win games in different ways, different quarterbacks, Alvin out, Mike Thomas out, and throughout the year, here you are, 12-4 going into the playoffs? Yeah,
I think that's a credit to Sean Payton. He's one of the best coaches I've ever played for, and I've enjoyed just being around his energy, being around his intellect. When you go in the game and knowing he's the coach, he's calling the plays and he's setting it up. It makes you feel good as a player, it makes you feel good as a receiver, and it's just a credit to him. To me, Coach of the Year, obviously, it's been a lot of good coaches, but just seeing the day-to-day grind and how he's handled this whole COVID and handled, Drew being out and Alvin being out and Mike being out, and really all of his big-time players, and showcasing the will and the poise to say, you know what, this is how we're going to handle this. This is how we're not going to go into panic mode. And so it's a big credit to him.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Just speaking to that, do you feel like you guys have formed your identity off of that adversity? And what can that do for a team once you get into the playoffs?
Truthfully, I don't really even know our identity. I think that we just go into games and say, hey, look, we're going to try this, we're going to try that. And if it works, then that's what we're going to go with. We got Alvin Kamara. Once he gets back, we got him at running back. We got some running backs. We got a great O-line. We got a quarterback in Drew Brees, a legendary quarterback in my eyes. And I just feel like we can be multi-dimensional, but at the same time, we got to go out and execute, and we got to, whatever Sean calls, we got to execute at a high level in order for us to make this run.
Next one's from Chris Hagan.
Emmanuel, we've heard a couple guys talk about just how important it is to get some momentum with a win going into the playoffs. But for you and Drew, how important was it to really look like you guys were in sync and get back on the same page and make some big catches going into, even bigger games?
Yeah, it felt good. Obviously, it's two plays I wish I could have back, the slant and then the back shoulder that he threw to me. But, I had 9 catches today, and it felt good. It felt good to catch catch passes and for Drew to believe in me and obviously keep feeding me, trying to get me to 8 catches to get that incentive. It felt good to be out there.
Last one's for Mike Triplett.
Emmanuel, you've been on a lot of Super Bowl teams, obviously, but is it rare to be around this veteran Saints team that is pretty openly talked about being Super Bowl or bust all the way back to the summer and not shying away from that goal?
I've been on a team like that in 15. It was Super Bowl bust. But truthfully, we don't even pay attention to it. We just take it in one game at a time. Obviously the end goal for everybody is to win the Super Bowl, but at the same time, we can't get there and just skip the whole process of it. So it's a process, and it starts with Chicago next week.
We're all set. Thanks, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you.